Hi guys, and welcome back to the vlog. This is Susie from Sea Salt and Stitches. This is the second video in my Hemlock hack series. I am taking the Hemlock tee, which is a free download from Grainline, and I've put the link in the description box below. And I'm doing 4 hacks to this pattern. The first one is a short sleeved hack, and if you'd like to watch that, then there's a link in the description box below. But today we are going to be doing the cowl neck hack, which is basically copying this ready to wear jumper that I have. So in this video I will tell you how to draft a cowl neck pattern piece and how to attach it to the bodice. I won't go into a full description on step by step because I already did that in the first video. So if you do want a full step by step, then watch that video, as I said, link in the description box. But if you want to know how to do the cowl neck hack, then keep watching. Okay, here is my jumper laid out flat so we can compare how similar the hemlock is to this ready to wear jumper that I'm doing the tutorial for. I'm just going to place the front pattern piece roughly in the center of where I think it would be. So as you can see, it's pretty much the same width. So we're going to be ending up with a jumper that's almost exactly the same width. It does come out here a little bit, taper out a little bit here, which if you wanted that would be very easy to add a little bit more to the side if you wanted to. It's also shorter, but I've already made up a sample hemlock and I quite like the length of it, so I'm just going to keep the length. There's 3 other differences to the pattern piece from the ready to wear. You can see there's a lower neckline on the front. The back is the same. I'm not going to bother turning it around to show you, but actually I think that's going to be totally fine. We're going to be putting this massive big cowl neck onto it. The only other difference here, there's a bit more length in the arm. You can see it actually comes out a little bit. The hemlock is totally straight. The sleeve connects to that notch there and it's totally straight, whereas this does jut out a bit. So that does mean that your drop shoulder is lower down on your arm on this ready to wear one. So if that's a particular look that you wanted, again, it'd be very easy just to draft a little bit onto this pattern piece. But for just to make this tutorial as simple as possible, I'm not going to do that, okay guys? Just going to keep it as this is. However, the hemlock has 3/4 length sleeves. This is the sleeve piece here. I'm going to fold it in half to show you the difference here. So if you put it up there, see that notch? That's where it would be sewn attached. Seam allowance, overlap it slightly there. Is it in shot? Oh my goodness, only just. Let's move it. Okay, so straighten it up. Okay, so you can see there, so there's another, what, 2 inches of length there. And because I like quite a snuggly jumper, I'm going to add at least a couple of inches to the length of the sleeve. The sleeve is also actually, on the hemlock, is also narrower. But again, for the sake of ease in the tutorial, I'm not going to change the width of this pattern piece. Maybe once I've made up the jumper, I might just take that in myself on the overlocker, just pin it in place. We'll see. Okay, so I need to add length to this sleeve. And then the very obvious thing I need to do is draft a completely new neck binding for the cowl neck. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do that now. It's very simple. This piece here is 5 centimeters long, and this, which is half, obviously, of the pattern piece that we need, is approximately 25 centimeters. So that would need to be doubled so that you get both sides. So we're now up to 50 centimeters. I don't even think I'm on the screen anymore. And plus, don't forget, your seam allowance needs to be added onto that as well. And we're going to do 1 centimeter seam allowance. because it's 3/8 of an inch on the pattern, on the hemlock pattern, which is approximately a centimetre. And remember, you have to add on to both ends of your pattern piece, you know, this side and that side. So we're at 50, so 52. So we need to make a new pattern piece that is 52 centimetres this way, keeping this length here, but making it 52 centimetres that way. So we're going to cut to that now. Right, so we need our pattern paper. I'll link down below in the description box where I buy this paper. It's just off Amazon. I like it because it has the grid markings on it, but it's still transparent enough to see patterns underneath it for tracing. It's whatever your preference is. You don't have to have it with grid markings. This is centimetre grid markings. You need your original pattern piece, a ruler of some sort, and a pencil or pen. I'm using a thick pen so that you can see my markings in this tutorial. So we're going to be keeping this length here. So I'm going to just mark it on. Annoyingly, it's not 9. Go. And then we need 52 centimetres up the way. This ruler is not exactly 52 centimetres. All the way up there. Okay. Excuse me while I lean across. 52. It's quite an easy one to draft because it's just a big rectangle. And then we have our cowl neck pattern piece. Now we need to put in the pattern markings. So this is the center front fold. Need to remember that. Mark it, label it. Cowl neck, cut 1. And that's all you need to put on it actually, because there's very little to this pattern. And we are good to go. Right, and now we will draft the sleeve piece. What you could do, you have two choices. Trace this off and add your extra length to your newly traced piece, which is what I'm going to do. Or you can just sellotape a bit of tissue or paper of any kind onto your actual pattern piece and do that. But I want to just have two separate pieces, pattern pieces, so I'm going to go ahead and make essentially a long sleeve pattern piece just to add to my hemlock pattern piece collection. So I'm going to trace it with a pencil and get back to you. When I'm using this tracing paper with the grid lines, I always make sure that my grain line is lined up with the grid lines. Therefore, when I'm putting the pattern piece on the fabric, I know you know exactly which direction it's supposed to be going in. Okay, so I measured my ready to wear jumper more precisely than I showed you earlier, and it was 2.5 inches longer in the sleeve. So I'm actually just going to go ahead and go, this is 3 inches I've got here. I'm just going to go ahead and extend that. You might notice, by the way, that the base of this pattern piece is ever so slightly curved. You don't have to do that. It can be straight across. So just for, again, for the sake of ease and worrying about trying to get that, I mean, you could move it down and trace that curve. That's not a problem, but my ready to wear piece is straight across. So I'm just gonna go straight across myself. I am going to use this French curve that I have to get this line that I'm extending sort of to run smoothly, but you really don't have to. I mean, you could just go pretty much straight across, straight down with a ruler or eyeball it, as long as you keep that length, that distance, sorry, roughly the same. It can be ever so slightly less because it is tapering in towards itself. So that, yeah, mine's going to be less. So don't worry if you don't have a French curve. However, I would say they don't cost very much and they are so handy, just to get that nice smooth curve like that. See? Right, so don't forget to measure or mark your piece. Remember, grain line. What else is on it? It's such a simple pattern that there's actually no markings on this sleeve piece at all. There is the grain line and that is it. So I'm gonna type that. And we are done. Okay, and now we have our new pieces for the cowl neck version of the hemlock. Front and back, not changed, but we've got a long sleeve piece now and also a cowl binding for the neck instead of the normal neck binding. And that's us ready to pin and cut out our fabric. Okay, I'm just starting to lay out my fabric and pin my pattern pieces to it. But I just wanted to show you something that I do to get the most out of my fabric. Sometimes you can just fold fabric, instead of just folding it directly in half, you can fold the two sides into the middle. And then you've got enough, there's still wide enough space to put your pattern pieces on. In the case of this fabric, it's actually a little bit less wide than others, so I can fit my bodice pieces side by side without a problem. But it's this long bit of this top of the sleeve that it doesn't fit without, it doesn't fit, you know, it's much wider. So what I've done, and I do this quite a lot, is I've overlapped the fabric. You can see, let me just take this out of the way to show you how I folded it. I folded it enough, folded this one over by that much so that it just, this is literally just enough to fit on there, right? And then it does take a little bit of jiggery hokery. You know, this is going to be moved back like that, and then that's folded over like that. You see? Excuse the phone, sorry. So that is over like that. That pattern piece is going to go on there. That will be cut out like that. And then I've got my large, this is the cowl neck piece that we drafted earlier. It's gonna go, if you look at, move this one again, it'll make more sense when I speed it up and start pinning it, you'll see what I mean. That's gonna go like that, right? And then if you can see where, you can make sure that is lined up. So I wouldn't be able to position that there because that pattern piece is there. So if I move it down to there, that's where it's okay to be. Okay, so I'll speed it up and I will pin and you'll have a better idea. Don't forget, if you want to line up your pattern pieces, the pattern on your fabric, mine's striped, so I want to make sure that they're matching at the side seams. You can use the little notch, sorry, that's the other side, the little notch that is on your pattern piece. It will be in the same position for both bodice pieces. I'm going to position mine at the base of one of the large blue stripes. seams are sewn, we have our neck hole. We're going to work on our cowl neck now. So here's the piece that we cut out, and what we need to do, unfold it, and we are going to put right sides together, like that, and we're going to sew up this bit. We will sew up along there. Okay, so once we have that sewn up, we have a tube. We're going to turn it the right way around. Okay, and now you've got something that looks like this. We are going to essentially fold it in half. Keep the seam on top of itself. There we go. Yeah. Make sure your raw edges are lined up so they're the same length. Two sides are the same length. Let's see. Takes a little bit of fiddling. Okay. Okay. So this is our cowl neck. So same as per the normal neckband. If you watched my other video, you have to divide this into 4 quarters, and you've got to divide this into quarters. So I'm going to do that now, speed it up. Again, I'm going to line up my back neckband seam or cowl neck seam with my centre back. It's a little harder to maneuver this than the small neckband, but you can do it. Just make sure you're not getting the cowl neck twisted. Match up those pins, those quarter pins. You sort of have to bring the body up into your cowl. Okay, so like this, right? So the cowl, you sort of push that down like that. I hope you can understand what's happening. I have, the cowl is sort of opened up, down, over the bodice, and the bodice is inside the cowl now, or part of it is inside. And this is the opening of the bodice, and this is the cowl. And I've pinned it in the 4 quarter places, and now I'm just going to maneuver it and stretch the cowl and then pin in place again. Turn it round, do the same. Make sure all 3 layers of fabric are sitting on top of each other. So we'll sew all around her. Have our cowl neck. So give it a press, and you can either top stitch the seam down or leave it. The piece that I'm copying doesn't have top stitching there. I'm just going to leave it. Maybe later on I might come back and change that, but for now I'm just going to leave it. I'm going to crack on and just finish off your top the way you normally would do. So I'll just speed on ahead with that. I am so pleased with my new jumper, and you know what, I have to say thank you to all the people that commented asking if I had made that grey jumper, because without you guys asking that I would never have made this, and this may now be my new favourite jumper. I really love this fabric. It is so cozy and I love the slubbiness of it as well. There's a link to a couple of different places you can buy it online if you want to get some yourself. I really hope you enjoyed the tutorial, and are you going to be putting cowl necks on everything now? So it's such a simple hack to do. If you are interested in how to do either the short sleeve hack, the colour block hack, or the ruffle sleeve hack, the links will be in the description box below. And thanks so much for watching.